Hello friends and family, welcome to the Holy Scripture Christ is Lord. This is another reaction video. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let us watch and have some fun. This video is only for educational purposes. Hope you learned something from it.
There's many people this week, they are famous. And they're famous because simply for a reason, not necessarily because they are smart. In fact, the person today we are going to talk about him, he mentioned in one of his videos that he was so dumb in school. But I'm not going to judge him by that because, there is many people who they were genius. They were not doing good in school. That is not really a record track of intelligence. But we have this person, his name is the trucker Carlson. This person, I find him, even though like the left, they don't like him, but I'm not going to take his side just because the left don't like him. I might agree with him in some stuff, but 90% of things he say, this person is a mad cow. And I will give you an example today by playing his video. And I want, the purpose of this video is to help you always when you listen to news. Those people are millionaires. This guy, he speak about fake media and, Fox News is no better than CNN. No problem, I agree with you. But you was working for them for how many years? You became a millionaire because of them. So when this person, he speak about Fox News as a fake media, how come you never spoke about it until they fire you? So as long the honey was running, you were kissing their hands. When they kicked you out, they are no good. If you are a decent person and you are against the fake media, you should not be part of it for a second. Or let us say you enter Fox News for a month, 2 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, and you find that, you found that this is a bad TV station. Why you stay? You stay until the last day they fire you. You did not resign. This is telling us who you are. In the same time, as long all media is fake media, aren't you a media too? Look like he forgot what he is and how he make living. If a person who don't make living from what he say, I will say he is not a media. Correct? If this is a person who don't own a show program and he paid millions every month, not thousands, not 100,000, not those people, they get a charge, they pay them by hour millions. And I'm not exaggerating. So if you are against the media, who are you? Aren't you a media? So today we are going to listen to this idiot, and we will laugh together. And you don't, this guy is famous. Compared to him, I'm no one compared to how famous he is and how unfamous I am, right? But just use your logic. Don't listen to me, don't listen to him. Listen to your mind. Listen to your thinking. Just think about what he say. So we will play what he say, and let us see.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson. This morning it looks like somebody blew up the Kakhovka Dam in southern Ukraine. The rushing wall of water wiped out entire villages, destroyed a critical hydropower.
Did you hear what he said? The Russian wall of water. Do you see he talk about the fake media? This is a dam in Ukraine, you stupid. What Russian? Let me play it again. Maybe I did not hear it.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson. This morning it looks like somebody blew up the Kakhovka Dam in southern Ukraine.
Yeah.
The rushing wall of water wiped out entire villages.
See? The Russian wall of water. Did you hear it? The Russian wall of water. So the dam is a Russian dam. And it's a wall. Sound like this guy, he was watching Muhammad reading Zul Qurnayn. The first 2 seconds of your video is a fraud. For this is not Russian wall, and it is not Russian land. And what else?
Destroyed a critical hydropower plant, and as of tonight puts the largest nuclear reactor in Europe in danger of melting.
See, the biggest, he just mentioned, that will make the biggest, you know, like a nuclear facility in Europe to explode. Take a note. But where is this facility is located? In Ukraine. But look what he will say after.
Down. So if this was intentional, it was not a military tactic, it was an act of terrorism. The question is, who did it? Well, let's see. The Kakhovka Dam was effectively Russian. It was built by the Russian government.
It's effectively Russian. It's built by the Russian. He's talking about the Soviet Union. Do you see the stupidity? Do you see the stupidity? Do you see the lies of this person? So this dam built by the Soviet Union, those are the Russian. Russia. No dignity, no honesty, fraud. I mean, you are just a little cockroach. There was no Russia at that time. There was Soviet Union. And no, it's not the Russian who built it. It was the Ukrainian, you stupid. In fact, the Ukrainian, they have the most old after the Romanian. Before the Soviet Union, they have the oldest railway stations in the world. They lie with no dignity. I mean, you know, this guy, he have a lot of people who listen to him, and they take what he say. American are naive people. Majority of Americans, they never even finish high school. So that's it. It is a Russian wall. It's built by the Russian. It is inside Russia, and the water is Russian water. And now he will give you the conclusion. What is the conclusion? And now this explosion is going to affect a nuclear facility. It might cause a disaster and the death of millions and millions of people in Ukraine first. But who we will blame? Listen to the trucker boy.
It currently sits in Russian-controlled territory. The dam's reservoir supplies water to Crimea, which has been for the last 240 years.
This reservoir provide water to Crimea. You just say that this is Russian water, and Crimea is a Ukrainian territory. So why the Russian, they want the water of the Russian to go to Ukrainian territory? And if we look at the map, we will see that this is in the middle of Ukraine. What does this have to do with Russia? Some of them might say to you, this is the border. No, this is not the border. As you see, Crimea all the way deep, this is part of Ukraine. And we will talk about that after this edict is finished.
Home of the Russian Black Sea Fleet. Blowing up the dam may be bad for Ukraine, but it hurts Russia more. For precisely that reason, the Ukrainian government has considered destroying it. In December, the Washington Post quoted a Ukrainian general saying his men had fired American-made rockets at the dam's floodgate as a test strike.
Okay.
So really, once the facts start coming in, it becomes much less of a...
Why you don't place for us the general saying that so we can hear with you? And did he throw a rocket because the Russian, they were there at that time?
mystery what might have happened to the dam.
Russian water? Oh, Russian water, not Russian water. Okay, the Russian water. No, he said Russian. He said Russian wall. Russian wall, Russian dam, built by the Russian.
Dam. Any fair person would conclude that the Ukrainians probably blew it up.
I will stop here and show you how son of Mut'a this man is. Let us say those people really they blow the dam. Damn you. This is their land. They have a war with Russia. Russia destroy their country. You know what destroy mean? The country is demolished. and let us say for the sake of argument, is part of a tactic to disturb the enemy. With the blood of nations, those people are under invasion. It's not them who is invading Russia. Let us say for the sake of argument, ISIS, they took my house. And now they are inside the house. And I want to take my house back. It might cost me to burn my house in order to kick them out. So what is your problem exactly? Are you denying the right of somebody to defend his house? This coward, he want to justify the crimes done in Ukraine. The crime done by the Western, not only Russian, by the way, because the Ukrainian are the victims of this war. The victim of America, the victim of Carlson and people like him, who ignite hatred against the Ukrainian. The victim of Europe, the victim of NATO, the victim of Turkey, the victim of everybody. Everybody is using them as a proxy for war. The American, they don't dare to fight the Russian. The Russian don't dare to fight the American. So now they are playing chess in Ukraine. This is the reality. And now this coward, instead of saying what, this war is not just. I mean, leave those people, poor people. This is a poor country. We knew that Putin, he was not going and making a war to take a little town in the border. He went all the way to Kiev. All the way to Kiev. He sent terrorists and drug dealers from around the world. He bring even fighters from Syria. He brought the son of Mut'ah, the coward Kadyrov, and his dogs. At that moment, every single son of Mut'ah in the West left the Ukrainian alone. They washed their hands from them. The American closed their embassy. The English, they run away. The president of France, he was like a yo-yo going between. Supposedly he's doing good, but the fact he was inviting Putin to do more harm because he showed him that we Western are really scared of your invasion. We will do nothing. Biden, he made it clear, whatever Russians do, we will not be involved. So they are the one who invited the Russian. And then they left the Ukrainian die. And even now, when they give them weapon, they give them the cheapest, the lowest, the useless. After more than a year and a half, now His Majesty Biden agreed to give them an old version of F-16. People are dying. Houses are destroyed. Nation is killed. And trucker, coward, he want to share the truth with you. Why not? He don't have a house there. His mama, she don't live there. None of his kids are there. So let Ukraine get burned. Who care? And the Ukrainian are the bad people. And look, they burn their cities. You see how crazy they are? Why? Because they don't obey the beast. This is the idea of this filthy Carlson. If you should obey the beast. He said that actually in the video. He said that 1,000,000 times. So now any country consider themselves superpower, invade the neighbor. And to avoid the beast, give him your land. Just give it up. Otherwise, he will burn you. That's what he's saying. And instead of taking side with the poor, and millions of people, they became homeless, he's taking side with the invader. Cowards, liars, no shame, animals. I'm trying to avoid to show you how many people get killed, how many women get raped. There's tons of videos. You can search them yourself. Somebody's saying, just to show you how in Crimea itself, they have a consultant. So how this is your land and how this is belong to you, and then how come you never mentioned that it's yours all those years? Get over it, my friend. You will see you will be kicked out of there. You see, the Putin, I used to think of him highly, by the way. I have nothing against the Russian. Actually, I appreciate the Russian people. Not only I appreciate them, actually, I love the Russian people. But this Putin is a piece of shit. Look what he just did. He was afraid, according to him, that Ukraine will join the NATO. Guess what happened? Finland, Sweden, Sweden, I mean, Norway. The line is going long joining the NATO now, just because of his stupidity. And those are in the borders close to Moscow, not like Ukraine. How come he don't invade them? Do you see how they lie in the excuse? If they excuse that he is going to join the NATO, which is the right of any country to join anywhere they want. You are not their dad. They are independent land. Have, you know, this Ukraine is a huge country. It's not a small town. They can decide for themselves where to go. When Finland decide to join the NATO, why Putin don't invade Finland? Why he don't invade Sweden, Norway? What happened? Because he don't dare. He don't. His friend Erdogan is part of the NATO. Invade Turkey. He sell them weapon. How come you are against the NATO and you sell weapon to the countries who they are part of the NATOs? And as long you are asking for a Crimea, as you claim this is yours, what about you go and take Alaska? And now this is come back, he is saying Crimea was the center of base for the Marines of the Russian for the last 250 years. So what do you mean? So now I go back on history and I will give land to anyone 250 years ago. Carlson asked the American to give California to the Mexican, Texas to the Mexican, all of America give it to the Indian. And you leave. You and me, we leave. Very disgusting, low-class person. You know, I have my degree in law. And when a country establish relationship with other country, and they send an ambassador, they sign a protocol. And the protocol is that both countries agree on the border and agree not to involve in any matter have to do with the local country which they are going to function in. Which means all the time Russia, when they are having ambassador after ambassador for the last 30 years in Ukraine, they agree that the Russian borders with Ukraine as it was when they were sending the ambassador, and this is the correct borders. And all this time and all those years, Crimea is part of Ukraine. So how come none of the Russian opened his mouth before? And Putin himself was a president for the last 20 years. He never opened his mouth. Or more, actually. This person, what degree man-made law? Just to show you an idea how people are stupid. This guy, he is getting me busted. What degree you have? Man-made law? I think this guy, he live in the jungle and he don't obey any law. And if a policeman, he stop him, he shoot him. And he's asking me, what law? Man-made law. Look like this guy, he live free. You know? Yeah. No, you are not following God, and you cannot follow God when it's come to daily basis life, because simply God, he did not involve in those things. Did God put a traffic light for you? Did God put the tax law for you? Did God, he says to you what to do when call 911 or to sue somebody? You are mentally ill, my friend. We don't have time for stupidity. He followed God law. Which law? What in your life is God law? The traffic, the tax, the election, the voting, the passport, the ID, the citizenship. This is God law now. You know, some people, they come here and they want to show you that they are religious. They follow God law only. Yeah, and when you want to divorce your wife, you go to the court of California. And the judge is an atheist. Right? And you follow God law only, brother. Now we continue with this idiot. A little bit more.
Just as you would assume they blew up Nord Stream, the Russian natural gas pipeline, last fall.
So what? Let us say they are the one who blow Nord Stream. They are at war with the Russian, you donkey. It doesn't matter what happened here when I blame the Ukraine. In all the last, since the war started until now, he did not say one single thing negative about the Russian. It looked like the Russian and Putin, they are angels. And all the Ukrainian are evil. Do you understand what I'm saying? There is nobody is perfect, but for Carlson, the Russian is perfect. Always they are right. The Ukrainian, in every single video, they are evil. But this is the same coward. He said, well, you know, if the Ukrainians are not doing what they are doing, getting close to the NATO, the Russian, they will not invade them. Okay, wonderful. So now we are going to listen to your advice. But he is the same person. The same person, he was saying, why the American, they want to involve in Syria? Why the American, they want to involve in Syria? Which I don't like the American to involve in Syria. This is true. But the logic is awkward. He don't mind if the Russian and the Iranian and Hezbollah involved in Syria to stop the American. But he don't mind the Russian, the Ukrainian, he mind the Ukrainian trying to join the NATO. Do you understand? So when the American involved in Syria, and I can play the video for you, when the American want to involve in Syria because they don't want the Russian to control Syria, he say, well, why want to involve there? That is not a good reason. But he is the same person, he say, that it's a good reason for the Russian to involve in Ukraine because they want to prevent the American from getting close to their borders. So it's okay for the Russian to take Syria, in his logic, because they want to prevent the American from being in Syria. But it's not okay to the American to involve in Ukraine because American, they have no right. Only Russian have right to take anywhere. This guy, I don't want to say, I don't want to make a conspiracy, but he's an idiot and he is sound like paid by the Russian. Is it possible? Why not? Time will tell. I want to show you a clear evidence of the stupidity of this man.
Good evening, sir.
No, not this man, this other one. This is Zakir Naik. Zakir Naik is smarter. This is
from the, and I'm quoting now.
This is Carlson himself is speaking about who is the one. There is, when Obama wanted to strike Syria, Christians, not what they say nationalist and etc. Christian, and specifically Christian from Syria, they made a huge movement in USA to stop that war. Christians and Christians only. And we can show you one of the videos of a woman. She exposed John McCain at that time. They say that the white supremacists, they are the one who made this lobbyist to stop the attack on Syria. And now Carlson is going to expose them. But how? Listen carefully.
Small but influential white nationalist movement. The Washington Post agreed with this assessment. They said the war's critics hold, quote, racist, anti-Semitic, and sexist views. But wait a second. Why would white supremacists oppose the bombing of a non-white country?
Syria is a non-white country. People, Syria is a non-white country. Syrian are African for Carlson. They are liberals, and liberals never speak something right. And now he want to get them busted. And he is asking a question. Well, as long you are saying the white supremacist is the one who is trying to stop the attack on Syria, why the white supremacist want to support a country which is non-white? This donkey, he do not know where Syria is located. He thinks Syria is an African land. He thinks it is Somalia.
Racist, anti-Semitic, and sexist views. But wait a second. Why would white supremacists oppose the bombing of a non-white country?
This is the one you want to take your news from? You think Syria is non-white country? Let us see how Syrian people look like. Brother, this is non-white. This is... I mean, you will die laughing, man. Those people are really... I know, the Syrian people are really African. They are so African, buddy. I mean, they are so dark in skin. Can't you see it? Are you blind? Why you don't see it? Don't you see? Now, don't look at the women wearing this garbage bag. Look at the kids. Can't you tell that those Syrians are really non-white people? My friend, we should understand that Carlson, he knew everything. I just search. Don't think I search for something special. No. I just search in English Syrian people. You can do the same. I just searched for Syrian people. I did not search for a blonde Syrian. I did not know. I did not search for a Christian Syrian. I just searched Syrian. And as you see, I'm showing you Muslims. According to this donkey, who is trying to refute the left, hold on, wait a moment. Why the white supremacists want to support non-white country? This remind me when I was in the army, they have like a place they play movies for the soldiers. I went there, and we have like a higher rank officer with us. And they play, actually, the movie was about Syria. Actually, if I try to remember the name, and the name is, well, movie is made a long time ago. Maybe one of you can remind me of the name. The American commandos in the movie, they jump in the beach of Damascus. And I was watching, and like I said, sir, this is the movie, like supposedly we will learn something from it. He says, yeah, you can get experience about how countries there, you know. I said, but there's no beach in Damascus. He said, what? He said, Damascus is not in the sea. It's at least 170 kilometers from the sea. So how those soldiers, the commandos, they jump from the boat, and after 3 minutes, they are in the middle of the city of Damascus. Learn from the American, brother. The American, they can tell you where is Damascus, and who is white and who is black. Right? And this donkey now, he decide that Syrian, they are non-white people. And he is a witness. In Syria, you will not find a single black person. Not a single one. You know what a single one? Not a single one. Those people, they have no shame. They lie to everybody. And, you know, when you are famous, people believe you. He is in control of the show. And remember, he is against the liberals. Did you even try to search about ethnic groups in Syria for 2 seconds? We'll take you 2 seconds in Google. Two seconds. I don't want to spend more time with this donkey. I think you get my idea. None of those Americans, they care really for any country. Sadly, all of them, they are buying you and selling you. If you are American or not, they don't care for you. This guy, he make millions every year. And as you see, he feed in the blood and war. He claimed that he is against war, but he have no problem if Iran invades Syria or the Russian invade Syria. You have no problem. Not only that, actually, in one of his videos, he said, maybe I can find it, that he knew that the Assad is evil. He knew what? The Assad is evil. But he's asking a question about why you want to change an evil regime. But he is the same one saying the Russians, they have the right to change the evil regime of Ukraine.
It came from the, and I'm quoting now, small but influential.
Let's see if we can find it. Give me a second. Do you see the stupidity? Why we want to change a regime in Syria? And by the way, I don't support changing any regime by the involvement of the American, because the American, they don't fix it, they burn it. They never fix anything. And always they support the wrong side. The regime in Syria is 1,000 times better than those so-called rebels. Those rebels are nothing but terrorists, and they are not our friends. They burned churches, they were killing Christians. The Assad did not kill Christians. In fact, there's a huge part of the Christians, they fought with the Assad. In fact, if not the Syrian Christians in Syria fought with the Assad lost long time ago. They sacrificed thousands and thousands of fighters. Now, Carlson, who is against the war in Syria, he invites people who support war in Syria. And then he agrees with them in 99% of things they say. But everything they say in this video is a lie. His guest, everything he say in the video is a pure lie about Syria. Carlson, he shake his head. Yeah, right. You are right. Yeah.
Have created a de facto division of labor on the ground where we go after Islamic State for them and they go after the more moderate opposition and wipe it out and create
the moderate opposition. The one they call them liberals are the moderate. Who is the moderate? Those who slaughter the neck of 6-year-old kid because he's a Christian, or because he's a Shia, or because he is a Alawi. Those are the moderate, the friends of America. Those are the friends of America who distribute Trudeau opened the border for them in Canada. The moderate. When you hear the word moderate, what do you think? Let me show you the moderate. I will do a little bit search about the moderate Syrian rebels. The moderate. I'm not going to search for Al-Qaeda, no. I'm not going to search for ISIS, no. I will search for the friends of America. The moderate. I mean, they are really very moderate. Brother, I cannot even show you, like most of the videos until now, I'm scrolling down. I don't want to show you really the crimes they did, the execution, Allahu Akbar in the top of their head, slaughtering Christians, burning churches, killing women and children, hiring children to fight in war. And those are the moderate. And this is their enemy. And he is non-white. Remember, the Syrians are non-white. This is the president of Syria. He is non-white person. Those are the moderate. All of them. And look, the American gave them weapon. They gave them the most expensive weapon. Obama, he armed them. He gave them $500 million. Those terrorists, the moderates. I don't want to search for. Look, you see those things? Is blocked in YouTube because there is a lot of violence there. They are the moderate, brother. The moderate. Yeah. No comment. Fighters from Chechnya, from Turkmenistan, from Afghanistan, from Taliban, from Somalia, from Egypt, those are the Syrian rebels. You know, especially the fighters of the Muslims Brotherhood. Going back to the video, you will see Carlson, he agree with this man that the Assad is evil, and those are moderate people, and they are fighting for freedom.
But why shouldn't we be supporting or rooting for the Assad regime too? Yes, it's evil, But relatively speaking, it's not the most evil group in Syria by a long shot, maybe one of the least. And it's also, again, relatively speaking, a rational actor. You can kind of predict what the Assad people will do because they don't want to die, in contrast to ISIS. So why is it unthinkable that we would, in the end, be rooting for them to reestablish control over that country and stop the hemorrhaging of refugees into Europe, for example?
Here you see the double standard. In the whole video, he was agreeing with the guy, and now he's saying, why want to do that? Why we don't root with the Syrian regime in order to make a stability? Wonderful. So why you don't want to root with the Ukrainian regime if they are evil, as you claim, to make a stability? How come the American, they should not involve, they should support the evil one, not to go against him, for the benefit? There's a benefit of supporting someone evil. That's what he's saying. So he don't mind supporting someone evil in his standard, as long as there's a benefit from supporting that evil. But he himself, he cannot support the Ukrainian in any way, in any mean. He supports always the Russian. And the Russian are not the weak one. And the Russian are the invader. And he was asking why you should involve there. But he is the one saying the Russian, they have the right to involve there. The American, they have no right to involve there. The Russian, they have to involve everywhere. They have the right. This guy is a Russian agent. He just supports whatever the Russian they say. He is just a media person, a media stand chair for the Russian regime. Never ever spoke one time against Putin. If we take him right now and he live in Moscow, can he say one negative thing about Putin? No. No. He will be in jail. Putin, he have long list of accusation to anyone say something against him. Security, they accuse you of security. Local disturbance. Spy, agent to foreign country. Unregistered agent of journalist for foreign country. Receiving donation from foreign country. There's millions of accusations they are ready to put you in jail. Very evil people. I say, leave the people alone. It doesn't matter if it's Syria or Ukraine. Those Americans, they consider playing with the soul and the life of other countries as a game. This guy is doing business. All for him is this is a business. Millions of dollars, salary, money. And he say always he oppose the others, not because he have morality or he have intelligence. He oppose so he can be controversial and people they speak about him more. And that will keep him hot in the market. If he is the same as the rest, well, he will not be shiny for the rest. If the left they say right, he will say left. If the left say left, he will say right. If the left they say let us support Russian, I assure you maybe he will switch. He say let us support Ukrainian. This person is just to oppose. Everything happened in the Middle East in the last 50 years is because of the evil Western involving there. Who is supporting the terrorists in Saudi Arabia? You know the name. Who supported Osama bin Laden? You know the name. Osama bin Laden himself, he was trained by the CIA. Even American newspapers, famous ones in USA, they publish article about him as a hero. What about Saddam Hussein? He was a hero for America. He fought the Iranian regime for 8 years. One day, he became a useless card. They burned him. He made mistakes. They thought of him, he will take over Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, and that is dangerous. They want to protect those two farms, because those Middle Eastern countries are farm for them, where they grow chicken. The Saudi is a farm, Kuwait is a farm, Qatar is a farm, Emirat is a farm. Those are not countries. Until now, they are countries, and they will never be countries. They are farms of biggest countries. So, like the farm of Saudi Arabia right now, when they felt the Americans are not taking care of them, they wanted to show the big boss, we can go to other boss, to China, because they cannot live as an independent country. They need a protector. If not you, American, we will go to the China. What do you want? Because they cannot really fight the Iranian. The Iranian, they can invade them anytime, and they can eat them alive. All those countries are farms. Jordan is a farm. In fact, because the Syrian regime don't want to be a farm for them, they decide to destroy it. He opposes. He don't want to be their toy. If you go and check a little bit go back on time, see why the war really started in Syria. Many years ago, around 2008, 2007, the NATO and European Union, they wanted the Syrian to accept to run a pipeline from Qatar, gas, all the way through the sea to Europe. It will go through Turkey too. Big project. And Iraq is totally under the control of American until now, actually. I mean, all the government of Iraq until now, they are controlled by the American. So the pipeline will go all the way from Qatar and will run all the way through Syria, and then will go to Turkey and then go to Europe. It might be a long line. Trust me, they are running long line from Russia too. All the purpose of this to be independent from the control of the Russian gas, so they can have more secure gas coming to them. The Assad refused. Why he refused? Because simply he is a friend of the Russian. He will not do something will harm his friends. The whole purpose of this line is to get rid of the Russian gas and oil. That's it. It's not a secret. And when he refused to run the pipeline going through Syria all the way to Turkey, then to Europe, they cannot run it. Iraq, not all of it is the same. They can run the pipeline through Saudi Arabia, and then they can run all the way from Jordan to Syria. This area in Iraq is controlled by the Shia, which means no way this line will go through. He refused. So we need to change him. All of this have nothing to do with the human right. They don't care for a human right. What about, okay, we change the regime in Saudi Arabia? As we saw in Saudi Arabia, one of their terrorists, he went to the embassy in Turkey. He got in, he never get out. What they did to him? They butchered him, literally. They made him a ground beef. In Turkey, if they do that in Turkey, what they do in their land? If this is what they do in Turkey, in the Saudi embassy in Turkey, what they will do to someone who opposed them inside Saudi Arabia? What about Qatar? What about Emirat? All their friends are terrorists. What about Jordan? Name for me one country is a friend to the West. The most friendly ones are the most ugly ones. This guy in Syria, he is not their friend. He is a friend to the Russian. He gave the Russian 2 bases. One in the sea, and one is close to the Turkish border. They could not take it. That is dangerous. The Russian now, not only they have a big base, they have 2. And not only 2, they have a port. And not only they have a port, they have a strategic supply depot in Syria, which means they have oil anytime, they have a fuel, they have missiles, they have all kind of strategic support in the case of real war. And they are so close to Europe and so close to Turkey. This has nothing to do with a human right. The Western always they destroy countries, and the Ukrainian are victims of the Western. Not only the Russian. There is 2 beasts. If your country is delicious, that does not mean really you are lucky. It's the opposite. The more delicious it is, the more everyone want to take a bite from it. So Russia want to take the country. Iran want to take the country. The West want to take the country. And the Syrian people didn't know what to do. And now everyone support his own gang. The American, they found that always the Muslim Sunni are the best gang to support. They are terrorists. They kill for money. And they are willing to be sold. They say Allahu Akbar, but they have no problem to receive dollar from the American. They say we want to fight the kuffar, but they have no problem to be trained by the CIA. The Muslim Shia, they say they are against the kuffar, but they have no problem to buy even weapon from Israel, as what happened in Iran during the war with Iraq. Imagine Iran was buying weapon from Israel. And imagine Israel is selling weapon to Iran. Does that make sense to you? Imagine Israel is supporting Hamas in Syria, and they are fighting Hamas in Israel. This is what happened in the last 10 years in Syria. Israel was supporting Hamas fighters in Syria. Even they opened a hospital for them in the borders with Israel. How you fight Hamas inside Israel and you support Hamas inside Syria? The answer is very simple. Hamas in Syria, they are killing the regime army. So we support them. Zero ethic. The terrorists in Syria, they are killing the Christians, they are killing the Assad army, they are killing the government official, they are burning the country. This is our enemy. So we support them. If you don't believe me, you can go and search right now Netanyahu. He opened a hospital. This is scumbag Netanyahu. He opened a hospital for those terrorists in the borders. He armed them, he supported them, he visited them. They are welcome in the borders of Israel. They are our friends. They are not our enemy. And when the Syrian regime actually tried to attack the terrorists, they run toward Israel, and the Israeli army right away sent shells against the Syrian army, so they cannot be killing the terrorists. Let me try to find. Here we go. Do you see it? Netanyahu visit Syrians injured civil war. Who are those Syrians? They want to make you believe that Netanyahu, he was doing charity. He was supporting those who burn churches and kill Christians in Syria. Right? In fact, me, myself, I support what Putin he did in Syria. You know, I always spoke actually good of Putin. But this guy, he decided to make a big poo-poo. And look what happened now. After more than a year and a half war, the Ukrainian army is stronger than never before. The Ukrainian army became one of the massive, scary army in the world, even though they don't have much weapon. But now they have extreme, powerful experience in war. To the point, the Russian soldiers, they are running to their life. Russia. When we say Russia, we are talking about a country is scary. Scary even to the American, to the Chinese, to everybody, to Japanese. They spent 9 months trying to capture a little town in the size of a village. It's called Bakhmut. All the massive army of Russia, they could not take it. Then they hire a terrorist group, criminals, mercenary, and they took, according to them, 60%. Just today, the Ukrainian took the big part of it back. We are talking about a city very close to the border where the Russian massive army is located. Tiny. This is not a city. This is a population of like 10,000 people. This is a small little town. It's not in the mountains. And yet they could not take it. How do they want to take Ukraine? 2 weeks ago, Wagner, they announced that they control Bakhmut, which is a lie. They control big part of it. This is true. Today, they are running away. So, took them 9 months to take it, took them 3 days to leave it. It was only Wagner. A guy is saying it was only Wagner. You forgot that he brought Wagner because the Russian army could not take it. Why you want to hire people to take it if you can't take it? That is even more stupid excuse from the answer. Because it's an insult to Putin to hire an organization to take a town because your army cannot take it. That means an organization is more powerful than your army. Is that correct, guys? If I hire a contractor to take for me something I cannot take it, that means the contractor is more skilled, more powerful, more equipped, and even they have a great fighters. It's a shame. Imagine I hire a bunch of thieves and criminals, even they recruit them from jail. I can show you the video of the leader of Wagner going to prison, says, you want to join us? If you join us, we will free you from jail right now. They are taking prisoners, criminals, rapists. And they are proud about it, like Ali Dawa. So how in the world the army of Russia cannot take a small town, but they can take Syria, all of Syria? The answer is very simple. In Syria, they were fighting the Syrian Muslim terrorists. They are coward. Those are coward. They shout too much. The second the enemy come, they run, they hide like a rat. The same what happened between Israel and Hamas. When the Israeli army, 60 soldiers, they come and they invade, 60 soldiers, not 6,000. They invade a Hamas town. All Hamas fighters are under the ground. The Israeli go and they capture somebody or they kill somebody he's wanted. After the Israeli leave, all Hamas fighters are in the street holding their guns. Allahu Akbar, Takbir, Allahu Akbar. So the difference is their war in Syria was war with cowards. Those Muslim Sunni, we know them, they are cowards. This is why always they lose war. They never win war. The war in Ukraine, they are fighting people defending their houses. And they are brave. Ukrainian in history, go and read about them. They are not like a cookie you can eat. Why you send your own people when you can buy other people? Those are Russian too. I mean, my friend, I hope I did not insult you by calling you stupid. I'm just giving you a rank. Those are your people. What's wrong with you people? Those are Russian. Guys, this guy, he solved it. He shake his head. He said, now I know what he is doing. Why you would send your own people when you can buy others? He is buying Russian. Does it make a difference? And not only that, he is paying them 5-6 times more. Those are Russian, and he is paying them 6-7 times more salary than normal Russian soldiers, if not 10 times. Did you fix it? He's hiring others now? Ukrainian does not exist. I heard that before. I heard that Ukrainian, they are alien. In fact, my friend, Moscow was not built when Ukrainian were exist. You do not know history. You are just saying, guys, Ukrainian was not, Ukrainian, they weren't exist. I heard that Ukrainian, they are people they bought from Amazon. You know, the Russian one, they said to themselves, we need Ukrainian. There's nobody here in Ukraine. So let us purchase some Ukrainian and bring them. And then suddenly we have a blonde, blue eyes people with blonde hair. Let us give them a name. Okay, you is Ukrainian. Ukrainian look at themselves, we are Ukrainian. The Russian, they said, yes, this is how we identify you from now on. Where is our grandfather? You don't have a grandfather. We just made you. You will never exist before. This is how silly, how stupid they are, you know, how they fabricate history. Suddenly Ukrainian, they are coming from the moon. They are alien. They never exist before. Suddenly they have kids and families. Suddenly they became 40, 50 millions. Suddenly, I mean, they does not exist, brother. They are not exist. Oh boy. And you know, this is what the Muslim they say, the Israeli they were not exist before Israel. The same propaganda. But their Quran says the children of Israel. Oh boy. Anyway, You see, I'm not supporting anyone. I support only the one who is treated unjustly. If the Ukrainian, they are doing bad to Russia, I will support the Russian. Very simple. But you do not need to be genius if you have little decency that those millions of people, they lost their homes for nothing. For a madman, his name is Putin. Let us say those Ukrainians, they want to join the NATO. Who dare to invade Russia? All of us, we knew they don't. Because that will be the end of the world. Who dare? Get closer. Okay, get closer. Nobody can step for such a war. Nobody dare for it. And if somebody wanted dare, that means this is the end of the whole world. Who can threat Russia? It's a big fat lie. And you know, trust me, if those countries don't have a powerful weapon, trust me, they will kill each other. We will have Third World War long time ago. Because all what you need is just an evil president or king. He have a dreams to establish an empire. And this is what Putin is trying to do. He want to establish an empire. He want to get back all the country. He was able and successful to take back Islamic countries to be back of Russia, or control of Russia. Like what happened in Chechnya, the Chechen Republic. Who is the one who burned the Grozny? They burned the whole city. And the war took long time. Do you have short memory? This is not their land. Not only it's not their land, this is a country, the people there are Muslims. So they have nothing to share with the Russian. And now Putin, he was the leader at that time, and he is the one really was in charge of the intelligence, and he's behind the torture and killing a lot of people from this country. They killed the one who is opposing them. They hire a dog like Kadyrov to be their dog. This is a Grozny. At that time, those people, they are Muslims, they brought every single terrorist in the world to fight the Russian. But because they are coward, and they are not truly fighters, they betray each other, you know. There is something, the Muslim, they have a problem, big problem. The Muslims always untrustworthy. They betray each other. If you check the history of Islam, who is the one who killed every single caliphate after Muhammad? The Muslims. Who killed Muhammad? The Muslim, they confuse. Some they say Aisha and Hafsa, some they say a Jewish woman. So imagine Hafsa and Aisha, they killed Muhammad, which means Abu Bakr and Umar, they killed Muhammad. Who killed Uthman? Who killed all the caliphate? Muslims. War with Muslims is so easy because those people are for sale. Zero dignity. Their God is dollar. They don't worship God. When the American, they were looking for Saddam Hussein, and you are a citizen of Iraq, and you love this president, and the president, he make you your special guard. Then the special guard go to the American, take $25 million, and he bring the American, he says, this is Saddam Hussein. $25 million. Muslims. Just say money. In Saudi Arabia, just a few years ago, if a woman, she walk in the street without covering her face, she will be beaten by the police. The crown prince, he decided to, no, We don't want this no more. Who dare to say no? Cowards.
Okay guys. Like, share, and comment below. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. See you soon.